we're merging the timelines one more time to explain very clearly Before Crisis, Crisis Core into our series. But what I often leave out is that Dirge clearly is also in the merging of the timelines. So in the next 2 episodes, we're going to take a look at Dirge and how it's coming in to our Merging the Timeline series. Let's get into it. I need to drop an official spoiler warning before I start every video because I'm tired of leaving it in the description of where there's 5,000 words that say spoiler warning. Spoiler warning. This is a spoiler warning. This is a spoiler warning. Hello there. This is a spoiler warning. Turn off now or forever hold your peace. So today we're going to be focusing on Dirge of Cerberus merging into the timeline. I know it's been pretty obvious for everyone that's played the game, but for those who actually don't know, Dirge of Cerberus has a group of enemies in the game called the Tsviets, however you pronounce it.
Deepground soldiers.
Deepground?
Yes, the shadow of the Shinra company, constructed by the former president and completely hidden from the rest of the world. The man you met earlier, AZUL, is also a member of Deepground, but he belongs to an elite unit known as the Tsviets.
We're introduced to them in Remake through Scarlet.
The rest, I leave to you.
It's time. Initiate the Tsviet field test.
Sir.
But also, if you do a couple of the missions at the start of the game, there's a guy called Weimar, an NPC, who kind of tells you, hey, Shinra's got this underground lab. Hey, Shinra's got this underground lab. Essentially leading to the whole Sector Zero, which is where all the Tsviets are kind of training and where they're morphed and where they're Genova implanted to become soldiers, evil soldiers. That's also one of the main reasons why Sephiroth is not a bad guy. And this is not a Sephiroth video, but if he was really a bad guy, he'd be the leader of that group, but he's not. There's a guy who might even be stronger named Weiss. And I know you don't understand how strong Weiss is because you probably didn't play Dirge of Cerberus, but he's a gangster.
They shall be smashed, strangled, and slaughtered, beaten,
stabbed and crushed, garroted and impaled, shot and executed without mercy.
Jumping and merging himself into Omega, merges himself into the super bionic beam, because in Dirge of Cerberus, what we learn and what I kind of talk about on this channel a little bit is that the Lifestream is not what everybody else is telling you. The Lifestream is what I'm telling you it is. It's what Marlene tells us it is. It's what Aerith tells us the Lifestream is. The Lifestream cannot summon people. If you've ever seen the movie Avatar, there's this god called Awa. She has the essence of all living beings come through her.
I'm trying to understand this deep connection that people have to the forest. She talks about a network of energy that flows through all living things. She says all energy is only borrowed, and one day you have to give it back.
Which is what we learned in the VR scene is exactly like the Lifestream. All life comes from this creative being. This being cannot be destroyed. When this being is being under attack, it has a self-defense mechanism. Multiple of them, actually. The ones we see in Final Fantasy VII Original are the weapons. But there's even another upgraded, higher version of the weapon, which when the planet says, I've had enough, you merge into this one weapon called Omega Weapon, and you just zoom off to another planet into the greater Lifestream is what we're explaining it to be. Now, why am I saying all of that? It's because the Tsviets have a leader. His name's Weiss. They have a second command, Nero. They have AZUL the Cerulean, and they have Roso the Crimson. So that's essentially the group of the Tsviets, which are all Genova implanted Sector Zero soldiers. And this is kind of like how a dual merging is happening, because what you actually learn is in Before Crisis, the Turks actually went to Costa del Sol and went to all like the underbelly, let's just say the underground fight kickboxing championship, okay? A bar. And they go there to recruit the strongest members who win this underground beef battles thing. So when you're a member of the Turk Shotgun, you go and you whoop all their butts. Then Azul shows up and whoops her butt. So then freaking Baldy, like me, jumps in, Rude jumps in and busts Azul up. After the Turks kidnap the strongest soldiers from Costa del Sol's bar, underground, K1 boxing, whatever. They bring them to Sector 0 so that freaking Hojo can test on them. And the guy that beat up Shotgun, Azul, is who we actually learned about, is the same Azul that's in Dirge of Cerberus. There's a bunch of other characters that are also in Dirge of Cerberus, like Dr. Shalua. She's also in Before Crisis. That's why I'm telling you guys, Before Crisis is the like core story they want to flesh out, because that's when you actually have a lot of development over a lot of the players. You find out Rude is in secret love with this girl who's a double agent who works for Avalanche. You find out about Zach's friends, Isai and Sebastian, who end up being transformed into these soldiers who can resurrect themselves and they fight. And then you see that in Crisis Core. Before Crisis is way more important than a lot of people are giving it credit for. So I'm here to just show one small piece, how we took the characters from Before Crisis, Azul, and some of the Sector 0 underground Tsviets, how they brought them into Dirge of Cerberus. And now that they're in Dirge of Cerberus, we clearly see now, which was not in the original game, there's no Sector 0, there's no mention of Sector 0, there's no Hojo uploading his living self into the World Wide Web, there's no Weiss, there's no Nero. We are not playing Final Fantasy VII Original. FF7R series is a new game going in a different direction, has the same undertones, but that doesn't mean it's the same thing. Same undertones, not Final Fantasy VII OG. They're developing a whole bunch of different stories, developing a whole bunch of different character arcs that we're now going to get that are going to complete an entire story that's going to be much more enticing. Wutai before, optional, show up there, just go there for a Corneo. Now it's like, oh my gosh, Wutai is setting up to be this huge extremist combative agent against Shinra. That possibly, if you follow the story from Remake, they have direct energy weapons that can change the atmosphere and change and cause tornadoes. If we believe the Remake story, the Shinra propaganda news. You decide if you want to listen to that. I already know what I believe, but that's all I want to talk about today. How Before Crisis brings Weiss into the new game, how Dirge of Cerberus brings Nero, Weiss, Roso, Azul. We still haven't seen Azul and Roso in Final Fantasy VII R series. Are they going to make a comeback? Are they not? I think that if they do make a comeback, the greatest way to kind of introduce them and get rid of them would be in the Wutai kind of chapter, because there we have already a huge battle between the Wutai Avalanche, and there's multiple avalanches, okay? I'm going to make a separate video on the different avalanche sectors, but there's multiple different avalanche sectors, and it gives us a clue of who Viceroy Saruf is. And it's not Rufus Shinra. So people who keep saying, oh, well, it's obvious, it's Rufus Shinra because Rufus Shinra is an anagram. No, not Rufus Shinra. Yuffie knows who Viceroy Saruf is because she talks about it when they're at the Nibelheim reactor. She says, oh, Viceroy Saruf and General Lodbrok and blah, 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 blah. She knows who they are. She's seen who they are. So unless you think Rufus Shinra is in a disguise like the guy in Iron Man 3, and that they're really just going to reveal that he's wearing a mask, and I'm not one of those believers. Viceroy Saruf, which is in another video, is going to be either Verdot, Elfie, or Fajito. Simple as that. That's the merging of the timelines that we got for you today. Hope you enjoyed it. And we're going to be doing one more episode on Vincent Valentine to show you that the proto-materia is part of the Final Fantasy VII R series. Bet you didn't know that. If you disagree with me, as always, let's argue about it in the comments, and I'll catch you on the next one.